Someone's really taking the mickey now. My mum said that we had a weird phone call from, like when people pretend to be banks or whatever. But it was like an automated telephone thing. And we checked the number, and it's this ridiculous chess club somewhere in the area of Farnham, which is like sort of southwest of London. A chess club. It just doesn't make any sense at all whatsoever. There's loads of other strange things been happening as well. I got onto that Stop Cop City group and website, and I got removed from there. And then, I don't know, it's the same as Verbs. I'm going to tag Verbs in this because, when he's doing his programme and the police cars drive past and so forth, it always seems when you do something that's significant or important, or you're about to send something that's quite important and can actually has a potential of strong success for the cause that you're doing, I always seem to get these like sirens coming past or whatever and things like that. It's just, it's defeating in the mind. It's almost like intimidating or some sort of like power kind of thing, and then this thing this morning with this, they were just, I don't really know how to describe it, but it once, Dr. John Campbell has got into this subject of 77th Brigade, 77th Battalion, I've been contacting a lot of people through Messenger or other methods, and, a lot of the times people just aren't replying, are they not there? And then, like, they'll, like, sometimes contact you, like, months later going, oh, it was, I found the message under my tab or whatever. I don't necessarily, I've had it when, I've looked at my other accounts and tabs and there's not been anything there. And then, it suddenly appears. My opinion is that because this is quite serious, I think that someone's messing around and they're just doing similar to what the anonymous group, I'm not claiming it's the anonymous group, but it's very similar. It's like there is some sort of operation going on our team that really doesn't want this side that we kind of identify with to win. And, why would a chess club be sending out automated phone messages pretending to be banks to give you details over? It doesn't make any sense at all whatsoever, There's just something not right. And the whole thing with, Musk taking over Twitter and turning it to X, just the whole principle of these, like the whole, can you remember that TV program, Prisoner Cell Block H? Every time I'm trying to do something now or going into groups or doing stuff, we keep getting blocked all the time, but not even doing anything wrong. Like, all the rules are written out, you abide by those rules and, you haven't done anything out of place. And it feels like, the whole idea behind Prisoner Cell Block H, like they call it a cell phone, and I feel like we're just being blocked by inventing the concept of just blocking. I mean, you never used to have that on a landline telephone. No one really ever had the phone ringing multiple times. I mean, some people did occasionally, but it wasn't like a massive thing that they would fit it on your phone, like a, block button and so forth. And they're doing this kind of opposition to Stop Cop City now in America. And a lot of the people are like, I don't know why they're trying to stop this Cop City, because they're all behaving like police or cops now. People just don't have any understanding, or the thing is, on the phone, on the groups and so forth, when you're not face to face with people, there's a lot of misunderstanding and so forth goes on, and people are just resorting to it. It's getting people to be authoritarian with each other, right, and getting to like it. And then the main principle with the whole blocking and banning creation, the culture of it, the emergence of it appearing with all these different sites, is that it's given everyone the authority to use the buttons, right? and do the blocking and banning, but there's no one who is actually moderating its use, whether people are overstepping it or misusing or abusing it. And the whole point in all these discrimination laws is that, people aren't, to discriminate against each other, but what's ended up happening is that, you're only meant to use these things if there's abuse or something serious. And what people are just doing it whimsically now. And really, when you look at the police and look at the whole issues, all of the issues that we are having with the police at the moment, with all these, legal prosecutions, the police are bringing these criminal damage charges in many cases when it's not criminal damage, where it's clearly identified as advertising and falls within the advertising classification. And even doing representations, there are many forms of representation you can do, from theatrical representations to models and exhibitions and so forth. No one's been challenging the Crown Prosecution Service or the police. The councils know all about the Town and Country Planning Acts, but they're the ones, they give themselves permission. But that act is all about the consent, and once you've got permission to do something, you can do it, and you can do what you want with it, right? It's the purpose, the reason you're doing it for political purposes, and the use of the enactment, which gives you the authorisation through the law. You don't ask for authorisation in retrospect from the court after you've done it. It facilitates and provides all the avenues and means of, it's laid out procedures where you have the legal right to do these things through the use of not only the immunity and the enactment, but also through these codified laws. It's already clearly set out in there. And the CPS and police have been completely blanking it, and they've been charging on. They like to have creative and poetic license, but when you read the acts properly, it's absolutely not criminal damage and not to be misconstrued as criminal damage. And I think it expands to a lot of these actions, like some of the bridge actions, and possibly even some of the actions where, things have been broken ceremoniously, as a sacrificial representation. Really, it's not that different from a religious representation to make a political exhibition. It's all meant to be covered under insurance, and also through national insurance, particularly when it's the public arena and the public forum. But when it comes to also political rights in groups, when it's a political group and people have got political rights, you're not supposed to block people from those groups, because then you are basically, all these activist groups are complaining about the police, overstepping the mark. We haven't really got anyone to moderate them. No one's really taking political action against the police or criminal action against the police. Many lawyers defend only. And the police, with their own immunity and their own job, they've crossed the line and gone over the line themselves, and so the CPS. And the problem is that model, which is in effect, is also affecting people as well. It's also affecting activists and just many people online, because all these tools that we're given, once you're blocked, you can't actually debate or argue it or even negotiate. And even if you've got a solicitor or a lawyer, I mean, sometimes I've been to legal people and they've tried to contact them, and the only contact method they've got is through the group, because they haven't got their email, and they've blocked the lawyer. And then that is ridiculous. And then you contact the platform, and there's not really any proper method to contact the platforms. It's all automated, these big companies. I think that they're wanting... What I'm finding now is that we're getting blocked through business. Like when you want to buy something from someone or get a service, you're getting blocked. And what it does is it actually is giving great difficulty of the public doing business with each other. Just smaller businesses and people like that are getting more and more used to whimsical blocking, particularly in community groups and so forth. And what you ended up left with is just, Amazon. Go to Amazon or, you know, Argos or B&Q, these big places which have bought up all the little places, and then all the staff, you know, are all told what to do and groomed and trained with these big companies. So people are just doing more and more business through the big companies, and that's what happened with the whole, you know, buying things on eBay from America. You used to be able to get some good deals on eBay from America second hand and quite cheap postage, and then Trump put the prices up through the roof, but also he put the prices up for Americans as well, you know, buying, selling from each other. And it totally killed like this whole kind of relations that we had with America through eBay. I know people still kind of like speak on YouTube and do Zoom meetings and so forth, you know, like George Galloway and these other channels. But there's a lot of the commerce sector which it totally killed when there was a lot of relations, which were quite valuable socially, really. And then he made loads of money for, you know, these corporate entities. That whole Cop City is meant to be completely funded. They've laid out the whole funding structure of corporate entities through Cop City, linked to all these big corporate entities, which is basically what the whole BlackRock Vanguard franchise is all based on, similar, you know, ownership frameworks. I'm having trouble with my own websites at the moment and my own channels, which is kind of ridiculous. You know, and getting help, no one can afford, you know, you end up having to look for help from cheap services because no one can afford any of the, you know, I can't even afford to get, you know, lawyers in this country anymore. They're just too expensive. There is something really wrong happening. And all this predictive text and so forth, it's almost writing the letter for you and writing what it thinks you're going to write or whatever. I want to think what I'm going to write, not the machine. Once it starts, you know, taking ahead of you, predicting, it's almost like taking it away from you and steering it itself. It's already starting to kill the spelling, like the English spelling. I hold on to that word colour, C-O-L-U-R, because, you know, I like the English spelling of the word, not the American spelling, but it ends up kind of like telling you that you've been spelling wrong, you know, when you've been to school and educated. It's trying to force you over to the American spelling of things. All these things are affecting us. I really don't like... I don't know why the Anonymous channel didn't tell us about this Elon Musk X project. They seem to know about it, but they didn't, through that whole Twitter issue with Musk, no one mentioned that X thing until it was over and then too late.